Hi guys, and welcome to a review this time of the EJ07, the original. And before I continue and before I get into more details, let me just take this opportunity to thank to thank first of all Nims Ricardo for lending me the 07, because without him lending it I wouldn't have the opportunity to talk to you guys about it. And also to thank Michael Bruce for, to a certain extent, a lot of the better sets, let's put it that way, that I've acquired over the last couple of months. I owe it to him in the sense that he's kind of pushed me into, wanting to listen to more expensive things, or to want to listen to things which are more um, more more properly executed. Let me put it to you this way. And why? Very simple. I'm very much a person that believes in diminishing returns. And at one point, I honestly thought that, $300 roughly would be what I would consider the maximum amount that I would be willing to pay for an earphone. And with passing of time and having the opportunity to listen to better and better, progressively better sets, and sets tuned in a different manner, I've kind of changed slightly my idea. I still believe that there is an amount which kind of dictates what the majority of us will be able to then differentiate from a good to a very good set, or from an expensive to a very expensive set. But fair enough, I've bumped up my, let's put it, my value of what I'm willing to pay for a set, to a little bit higher, to around $600-700. I think that above that value, what is offered in most circumstances, we will not be able to differentiate. That's my opinion. I respect everybody else's opinion and who thinks differently. It's the same situation with the question of, with regards to cables. I mean, I believe in a decent cable, fair enough, but I don't think it's a $2,000 cable that's going to make an earphone sound fantastic, versus a decent cable that costs, let's say, $200. I just don't. If something were to be so dependent on something like that, then something, in my opinion, something is just then not properly conceived from the get-go. Anyway, on to what matters, and on to the EJ07. The EJ07 has got a legion of fans. It's as simple as that. And why does it have this legion of fans? Well, because it is an earphone that has, well, let me put it to you this way. There's basically earphones which are colored, and then earphones which are accurate. Okay, by colored I mean earphones which will emphasize one or two specific areas of the frequency response, while the ones which are accurate will try and maintain themselves as neutral as possible, and try and be, let's say, as audiophile as possible. Okay, obviously then there's what I personally consider various grades of let's say colored, and various grades of accurate. Okay, and those things are obviously dependent on what music you like listening to, how loud you like listening to that music. And that's why then you do find sets, let's say for example, in the colored sets, which usually have this kind of more V type signature, which is an emphasis on the bass and on the treble. But you have sets which are well done. They are tastefully colored, let's put it this way. And the same thing has, with regards to neutral sets. There are sets which are neutral and just plain bland, and you just don't, whatever. And then you have sets which are done in a neutral manner, but there's a wow factor. There's a magic about them, just that just makes them ever so engaging. And in the last couple of weeks, I've been able to enjoy the opportunity to listen to some sets which follow more that kind of philosophy, in the sense that they are more neutralish by concept, with various shades of that neutrality coming up. And the EJ07 is one of those sets. It's a tribrid, so it's made up of 4 ESTs, 2 BAs, and a DD. The BAs, I believe, are Sonyan and 2389s, and the DD is a common nanotube driver. And obviously the ESTs, well, I don't know the models, but everything in terms of, let me simplify. In terms of parts here are excellent. I mean, Shure didn't cut corners. They chose carefully their hardware, and then they masterfully tuned it. Period. Many people, I haven't listened to other sets from higher end sets from Shure, let's put it that way, but I've listened to, well, the EJ07, which is over here. I own a 07M, and I also own an S12, and there is no doubt that whoever tuned the set knew what he was doing, or knows what he's doing. And you know, you listen to this, and again, like I say many times, you have to you know, approach whatever earphone you're going to listen to, not forgetting certain aspects. And obviously, when you approach an earphone like this, which costs $850, there are, at least I create certain expectations in terms of what it is capable of doing, because $850 is a lot of money, so it better goddamn play well. Let's put it that way, without no disrespect meant. And the 07 is exactly that. I mean, I can spend here now countless minutes explaining and going through all the various aspects of what the 07 is about, and so on and so forth, but I'm going to try and make this nice and short, because, you know, so much has been said about the 07 that I really cannot bring that much more other than confirm what has been said about it. So this is a driver, or sorry, this is an earphone which fundamentally is all about being as realistic as possible, or as faithful as possible to how the music is to be reproduced. Okay, so we are talking about an earphone that has, well, it might not appeal to everybody, but the idea was to have metrics in terms of the way that it was tuned that made it as tasteful and as realistic as possible. So when we look, for example, at the bass or the sub bass, everything below about 150 hertz, you know, is 150 hertz is boosted in a very correct way, so that you have that sub bass rumble, but then there's no excessive mid bass, there's no excessive warmth to the mid bass, and everything then stays flat until about 1K. So there's no bleed, there's no nothing. There's this transition from sub bass to mid bass into mids, which is absolutely flawless, you know, flawless. And then, you know, you either like it or you don't like it, and that will be very much dependent on obviously what you listen to. If you like music which needs something which is fun, or tastefully colored, like I said early on, maybe this will not do the job. However, and let me reiterate that, however, you could be in for a surprise. Then, you know, going on to the upper mids, again, everything has been very well done. It peaks at around 2.8K more or less. You know, the pin again is perfectly done. It then stops rolling off very, very nicely. There's no sibilance, there's no adding to it what shouldn't be there. It's just flawlessly done in terms of the mid-range. And you know, if you when you come from a bass which has got this amazing texture, it's absolutely faultless, let's put it that way. And then you enter mids which carry on with that avalanche of what has been given us in terms of the bass and its capabilities and its texture. You get these mids which are rich, they're textured, they're realistic, they're non-shouty, there's nothing, they're just perfect. You cannot just you have to be absolutely left in awe and say, wow, this thing really plays well. It does, because that's the reality. And then finally we go on to the treble, which for me personally, and I'm gonna try and divide this into two parts. It's a perfectly executed treble. It's rolled off, yes, but it's realistic. And this rolling off helps it maintain its tonality, and the timbre and how realistic the sounds are throughout the whole range of this earphone is absolutely faultless. Period. There's nothing I can say other than that. And having this treble which is rolled off early just contributes additionally to this absolutely perfect timbre. Everything about it is really I've had this earphone for a few days now, and I have to admit it is really, really good. It is. In terms of its technicalities, again, the 07 shines. And this thing is actually very beautiful. Sorry about that. It shines. So we have a soundstage which, in terms of depth, is good. I mean, I've heard things which I consider to have a deeper soundstage. And for example, I'm talking about the Neon right now. For me personally, it has a deeper soundstage. But overall, its soundstage is good. It's wide enough and deep enough to convey this sense of 3D, which is you get sounds coming from everywhere. That then contributes as well to a very good imaging and an excellent detailed retrieval capability, something which, when you look at how the rolled off, let's put it that way, the treble is, you would perhaps think that, well, okay, maybe detailed retrieval, it will be a little bit on the downside. No, forget it. The EJ07 is one of those earphones that if you play it with not enough power, and if you play it low or with a very low volume, you will not see its magic. The moment you crank up this thing, it's just unbelievable. The same situation kind of happened to me when I listened to the DM, to the MIM Dark Magician. You listen to it low and it sounds okay, fine. You crank it and it's just another beast. And the same thing happens here. The way that this thing can scale and maintain everything, in cohesion, and then actually really start to shine is just, it's unreal. It really is. So yeah, I mean, I cannot but say good things about the 07, because that's how good it is. It really is a very, very good earphone, and I can understand the magic of those that like it, now that I've had the opportunity to listen to it. And at the same time, I can also understand why certain people don't like it. I know that, for example, Clinical didn't exactly like these a lot, but hey, we can't all like the same thing, right? Briefly, how does it compare to the 07M, which I have over here? Well, I found them similar in many instances. However, the fact that the M is capable of a bit more extension, it's not as rolled off as the 07, the original, and I'll just refer to them as the M and the OG from now on. For me personally, and for the music that I listen to, I found the M more engaging. I found the M more entertaining, more fun to listen to. While over there on the OG, I would listen to everything I listened to and like it, and you know. But for example, Sexual Healing from Marvin Gaye, it sounds fantastic over there, fantastic. Nothing, I can't fault it. But here, it's just got that little extra fun to it, which I personally just, I don't know, it just satisfies me a little bit more. I found as well that, for example, female voices, Patricia Barber and so on and so forth, on here also were more satisfying, more towards my personal taste. 80s from Bruno Mueller, the guitar, for me personally, again, the M has just that little extra that just is more appealing, you know. And again, I want to make this perfectly clear. I'm not taking anything away from here. Compared to the variations, and please, you know, forgive me if I'm making these comparisons very brief, because these are all amazing sets, be it the variations, be it the M, be it the original 07, be it the RSV, which I had recently as well, and I'm definitely going to get an RSV, you know, that's a given. I will own an RSV. Be it the Neon, these sets are all amazing. Even the Oxygen, I could actually have had the Oxygen in the middle of here of these, and I don't think the Oxygen would be so that behind that it wouldn't justify being placed next to these big boys. But going on to the variations, again, I think that the variations, where I found maybe the biggest like straight away difference was the variations doesn't scale as well as the 07. And somehow, although they kind of have a similar bass shelf, there seems to be a slightly more mid bass again, although they are both very, very flat in that aspect. I perceive more mid bass in the OG than I do on the variations. Otherwise, the variations got that little extra. On the other hand, the variations got a little extra energy up top, which just makes things, for my preference, a little bit more engaging. For example, let me see, Jeff Cascaro, the Lady's Not Amused. I like listening to it more on the variations than I do on the 07. Finally, the Neon, and before I just talk about the Neon again, I just want to say that I know there's been some controversy around the Neon recently, and you know, the same thing applies once again. It's all about taste. It's all about, do you like a more neutral or do you like a more colored set? This is neutral. This is a different shade of neutral. This, for me, I consider it already to be a colored set. The RSV is again another shade of neutral. This is a colored set. The Neon is a colored set which has been very tastefully done. And the reason why I put the Neon here is because in terms of an all BA set, I think that this, out of all the sets that I've heard up to now, is the set that I like the most, period. You know, it really is a very good sounding set for my musical preference. And yes, it can have a signature which is V-shaped, but the bass that this Neon has, considering it's an all BA set, is just unreal. The ultimate rumble of the real low bass, perhaps the OG, the variations, and the M might have just a little bit extra, but otherwise, you know, you cannot really falter the mid bass, the sub bass and the mid bass here on the Neon. On the mids, again, personally, They have that extra coloring that makes things just a little bit more fun. And for example, when I listen to stuff from Soul Persona, Unconditional, or when I listen to Malia Raising Venus, or when I listen to, for example, Kissing Blue from Yellow, it just sounds a little bit more engaging here, a little bit more forward. This plays all the songs I just mentioned very well, but those songs, especially the Kissing Blue from Yellow, it just gets more fun if you listen to it on a set which is more forward, like the case of the Neon. Does the Neon scale as well as the OG? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And I think the main reason why it doesn't is because it just gets really, really loud. But until that threshold, or as long as you can handle it playing that loud, yes, it does scale well. But ultimately, this, yes, does scale better than the Neon. And yeah, guys, look, this is basically it. Like I said, I think it's a fantastic set. It's really, really good. Would I take it over my M? No, I wouldn't. Would I take it over the variations? Again, I would say no, just purely because the variations has got that little extra energy up top that I like the most. Over the RSV, again, no. And please, I wanted to be clear. I'm not saying no because it's just down to my personal preference, because I mean, this is $850. The RSV is $730. So when we're talking this kind of price, it's really, really down to personal taste and what you like the most. And I just know that I would have more fun listening to an RSV than I would with the OG. I know I will have more fun listening to the M than I will the OG, and that's why I didn't. When I heard some of the reviews about the M, I knew straight away that the M would be the better choice for me and for what I like listening to. So I'm happy I didn't purchase the OG. Although if I had purchased the OG, I wouldn't regret it. But I'm happy because I know that ultimately, I get more out of that. And as well the Neon, and those that have been following my reviews now for a while know that I'm a very, very big fan of AudioSense. The DT600, the T800, I think they are fabulous sets. Again, those are two sets which have mixed reviews. Some people like them, some people think they're too aggressive, too bright, too this. They are colored in the wrong way, and again, I respect all of that. It's like I've said countless times, it's all about enjoying the music. And if you put on a set of $15 and that set of $15 gets you going, hey, fantastic, amazing, period. If on the other hand you put on an earphone which costs $2,000 and that, fantastic, amazing, hey, I'm happy with that as well. It's all good, it's all cool. Yeah, that's basically in a nutshell everything I wanted to say about the OG. Oh, one thing that I would like to just quickly mention, and this was an aspect that, for example, Michael Bruce as well also encountered, was with regards to tip choice, and I'm trying to see if I can actually show you. So I've got these like really stubby foam tips here. These tips, okay, I bought off AliExpress. They were dirt cheap. These tips are magical on the OG. Magical, magical, magical. They look like copies from Comply. Absolutely magical. If you put a normal tip on here, this thing just dies. For example, I tried, and this is again to just see the M with those foam tips. I don't like it. However, with the standard silicone tips that it actually brings, it just matches up perfectly. And this again has to do with how your ears are. Magic, magic, magic. And on the OG, if I tried using those tips there, it just no, doesn't work. But with these tips, absolute bliss. Really, really good. Anyway, guys, I said I was going to do something short, and we're on to almost 25 minutes already of this. Me rambling and talking and blah, 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 blah. It's about enough. Anyway, Take care. Thank you once again. And don't forget, if you like what I'm saying and what I'm talking about, just click the subscribe button. It shows me that what I'm doing is liked by you guys and gives me that courage to carry on. All right, you take care. Bye bye. Thank you.